Greetings, my name is Kerry and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm bringing you my TBR for the Christmas readathon and also some recommendations if you're not sure what books you should be picking up for any of the prompts. The way I've done this, because I'm so indecisive and really bad at sticking to TBRs, although I have got a bit better at it, but I thought what I'd do is for every prompt I've got a book that I'm probably going to read, a book that I may read instead, and then 2 recommendations. Without further ado, I'm just going to get into it. This is really exciting. I'm so excited about this readathon. The first prompt was pantomime, which is to read a retelling. So this can be any type of retelling, fairy tale, folk tale, Shakespeare, anything, classics, reimagined, anything that you would class as it's a reinterpretation of an old story. For this, the one I'm most likely to read, and I probably will stick with this, is The Bayron, the Nightingale by Katherine Arden. This is inspired by Russian folk tales. So I had a lot of discussion with some of my friends and they said probably it would count as a retelling, and anyway I'm making up the rules, so I'm saying it counts. I'm buddy reading this with Amber from Books of Amber and a few other people. Really excited to be picking this up. Because I'm buddy reading it, this is most likely this will be the one that I will read for that, but if I change my mind or if I have lots of time left at the end of the readathon and I want to read something else, my backup option, my maybe option, is Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief by Riordan. I've been meaning to get into the series for ages. I know that they are in the process of making, I'm not sure if it's a film or TV series of it for Disney. Yeah, really looking forward to reading this at some point. I might pick this up anyway because it would also fit for a later prompt. This is my maybe one. And then a couple of recommendations if you're not sure what you could pick up for this. The first one is the Stolen Kingdom series by Bethany Atazadeh. So this one here is the 3rd one in the series, The Cursed Hunter. This, although sequentially it's the 3rd one, you can read it as a standalone, but I would say it makes more sense to read them in the right order. So the first one is called The Stolen Kingdom. I just happen to have this one to hand. Most of my books are in storage, so I don't know where the first one is at the moment. These are all fairy tale retellings. The first one, The Stolen Kingdom, is an Aladdin retelling. The second one is called The Genie Key, and that's a Little Mermaid retelling. And this one, the 3rd one, is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. So any of the books in the series would count for this challenge. I really enjoy these. They're all interconnected stories. They're really interesting takes on fairy tales. Her tagline for it is, "This is not the fairy tale you remember," and I think that's really an apt description because none of them follow what you expect from the normal fairy tale. So I recommend The Stolen Kingdom by Bethany Atazadeh for a really good retelling. Or if you are not into series, you just want a standalone book to pick up, one that I read this year that I really enjoyed is Cinderella is Dead by Kalynn Bayron. This is obviously a take on the Cinderella tale. It's not directly a retelling, but it's inspired by that story, so that counts too. It's set, I think, 200 years after Cinderella has died, and the main character Sylvia lives in this very strict patriarchal society where all the girls are expected to follow Cinderella's example to the letter, and every year they have to go to a ball and are potentially picked up to be wives to all the men who are a little bit creepy. So this is a really interesting take on the fairy tale and the legacy of Cinderella's story and how that has been reinterpreted. I thought it was really fun, really cleverly done. It's got a female-female romance in it as well. Lots of great representation. Yeah, really enjoyable is that one. The second prompt was Christmas food, and so I'm not planning ahead of time what Christmas food I'm going to be eating. I just know that I really like mince pies and stollen cake and lebkuchen and all other sorts of Christmas treats. I'm going to a shop tomorrow, so I might buy a few treats then, but haven't definitely decided, so I'm not expecting you to decide ahead of time what Christmas treats you're going to eat, just anything that makes you feel festive. The 3rd prompt is Jigsaw Puzzle, which is to read a book with a mystery element. The book I'm most likely to pick up for this is Mayday by Josie Jaffrey, because I was sent this arc in the summer to review and I haven't got around to reading or reviewing it yet, so I will probably try and read this one and get my review sorted for this book because I feel a bit bad that I haven't done it yet. It's a murder mystery involving vampires, and that's about all I know about it really, but it sounds really fun. It's the first in a new series, urban fantasy. Josie Jaffrey has written loads, so I'm really excited if I like this. She has a really extensive back catalogue for me to pick up, so I'm looking forward to giving this one a go. And then my maybe book for this category is The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman. Richard Osman is a really popular TV presenter in the UK, and this is his first novel. It's meant to be really funny, really entertaining, really cleverly put together, in the vein of sort of Agatha Christie style murder mysteries. Again, really will enjoy this, I know, when I read it. I just haven't quite got to it yet, so this is a possibility, and again would fit in some of the other categories if I don't read it for this one, so it's nice to have options. This is set in a retirement village, I believe, where 4 friends get together every week and try and solve unsolved murders in their area, and it's meant to be really, really good. Recommendations for books with a mystery element. My first and most obvious recommendation is basically pick up anything by Agatha Christie. Some of her stories are more mystery based and some are more adventure stories, but all of them have some sort of mystery element. So this one is The Secret Adversary. It's the first in the Tommy and Tuppence series, which are more adventure based stories, but there are several mystery elements actually that they're trying to figure out in the story. Again, this is the one that I had easiest to hand, as most of my others are in storage, but a good place to start is The Murder on the Orient Express. That's probably her most famous book. Death on the Nile is also really good, and The Body in the Library is a Miss Marple one that I really enjoyed. Basically, have a look on online on Goodreads and see what her most popular, most accessible books are, and you could start with any of them basically and that would work for this prompt. And then the other one that I was going to recommend for this is actually just won the horror category of the Goodreads Choice Awards, but it's not really a horror book. Well, it kind of is. It's like Gothic horror, so it's Mexican Gothic by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. This was our first book we read for our Space Sirens book club. It is set in Mexico in, I want to say the 50s, I can't entirely remember, and it's about a young woman called Noemi who gets a message from her cousin to say that she thinks her husband is poisoning her. So Noemi travels to visit her cousin and try and find out what is going on, and she ends up at this super creepy house with a really weird family, and she knows there's some sort of mystery, there's something weird happening in this house, but she doesn't know what. I mean, it's listed as horror. I'd say it's Gothic horror. I don't really like horror, and I found this, I really enjoyed this book. So if you're worried about reading something tagged as horror because you don't like scary stuff, this is more creepy than scary. There are a couple of moments that made me cringe and feel really uncomfortable. I will link my book diary for it in the description, so if you're not sure whether it's for you or not, have a look at that. It's spoiler free and will give you a bit of an idea, but as I say, I don't like horror and I really enjoyed it, so don't let that horror tag put you off. Okay, so the next prompt is It's Wonderful Life, which is read a book that has been made into a movie or TV series. I actually have 3 choices for this because I am so indecisive. The first pick, the one I will probably read, is another Agatha Christie. This is The Murder of Roger Ackroyd. This is the next book in the Poirot series that I haven't read. It's meant to be one of her better ones. I don't know that much about it because I've not read it before, but it's one of the earlier ones in the series and I've heard so many good things about it, so I might pick this one up because it's super duper short. So again, most Agatha Christie books, I mean, this is an early recommendation here, most Agatha Christie books have been adapted for film or TV at some point in their existence, so pretty much any Agatha Christie book would work for this prompt as well if you wanted to double up. And again, I might pick this one up because it would be doubling up. If I didn't have as much time, I'd know that I'd covered both those prompts at the same time. This is one that I'm very likely to read, but I might change my mind. I've put this one in here because I really want to read it. It's loosely interpreting the prompt, so I don't know if I'll let myself get away with it. But I mean, it's a super chill readathon and I make up the rules, so I mean, maybe I will. This is Bloodwitch by Susan Dennard. This is the 3rd book in the Witchland series. The Witchland series is in the process of being adapted. As this is the 3rd book, like, it's not available to watch on TV yet, so I may be preempting slightly, but this also would fit some of the other prompts. I've actually included it on the next one as well. I may pick this one up again because it would cover several prompts for me if I needed it to. Very loosely would cover this prompt, but I maybe would pick up for a different prompt over this one. I really want to catch up on this, although the next book was meant to be out in February. It's now been pushed back a little bit, so a little bit less pressure to finish this book this year. I just want to have read it before the next one comes out. And then the final one that I might pick up for this prompt is, I watched this film earlier this year and thought it was really powerful. I've been meaning to read the book for ages actually, but especially since I saw the film. So this is Just Mercy by Bryan Stevenson. This is non-fiction. Bryan Stevenson is a lawyer who works to try and overturn convictions for people on death row where they have been convicted on quite flimsy evidence. This is the story of one of his first cases. The film was really, really powerful, so if you haven't seen the film, definitely go watch it. And so I'm really keen to read the account in his own words. I've watched a couple of his TED Talks as well, and he's a really powerful speaker. Really keen to pick this one up, so this is another one that I might pick up for this category, and again would work for another category as well later. My recommendations for this category. The first book I'm going to recommend is The Hate U Give by Angie Thomas, which was made into a film a couple of years ago, but it is a really powerful young adult book about Black Lives Matter, so I think it's really apt to read it this year if you haven't read it yet, and try and understand some of what that movement is about. It is a fiction, it's a novel, but it is really inspired by real life events, that the frequency of black people being stopped, arrested and shot, often killed by the police, disproportionately to their white peers, and it's a real problem in America. It is also a problem in the UK, just a slightly different aspect of the problem, because our police aren't armed in the same way, but it's still, black people are disproportionately more likely to be stopped and searched in the UK, more likely to be racially profiled. Yeah, a really good insight into those issues, which I think is something we all should be more aware of. Another YA book that I want to recommend for this, which has a different feel to it, but again addresses some important issues. So that's a book called Dumplin by Julie Murphy. This was made into a Netflix film, and I love the Netflix film. It's one of my feel-good films when I need a bit of cheering up. Dumplin is about a young woman who is plus-sized, and her mother won a beauty pageant when she was a teenager and has since gone on to now host and run this beauty pageant. And Willowdean, her mum nicknames her Dumplin. Willowdean has never felt like she quite fitted her mum's ideal of what she wished her daughter would be. So one year she decides to enter the beauty pageant kind of as a protest, and the story develops from there. It's really fun, really lovely, great look at friendships and kind of the insecurities of starting relationships and that sort of thing. Really, really lovely. Again, I really recommend the film. So those are my recommendations for that one. So the next prompt, there is 2 parts for it. So the prompt is Trivial Pursuit, and you can either read a book that features a quest or a book that will teach you something. Because I have issues, I have chosen books for both prompts, and who knows, I might end up reading all of them. First, for books that involve a quest, the one that I'm most likely to read is Empire of Gold by S.A. Chakraborty. So I'm interpreting quest as basically anyone going on a journey to do something or get somewhere. This is the 3rd book in the Davbad trilogy, and at the end of the 2nd book, a couple of the characters found themselves somewhere that they didn't expect to be, and they need to try and make their way back to the other characters. So I'm considering that to be a quest. That's how I'm interpreting it. Interpret it however you want. This is a really chill readathon. I've been meaning to try and finish this series for ages. I started this series this year and I really love it, and I really want to get around to finishing it. So this is one I'm most likely to pick up for this prompt. This is the occasion when I might pick up Bloodwitch. Again, lots of the characters are all over the place in this book and are on different journeys to try and achieve different things and be reunited with each other. So lots of different elements relating to questing in this book, so this is why I might pick this one up. A couple of recommendations for quests. We have Incendiary by Zoraida Cordova. This is another YA fantasy, lots of YA fantasy I'm talking about today, which is about a young woman called Wren who has the power to steal people's memories, and she's part of an underground resistance movement for a people group that have been persecuted by the ruling power, and she has to go undercover at the palace and try and recover a weapon that is being used against her people. Lots more to it than that, but again, the element of her having this secret mission I thought was kind of quest-like, so that's a really good one. This was another one we read for Space Orient Book Club and we really enjoyed it, so this one is another recommendation for that. And then my second recommendation for this is Raybearer by Jordan Ifuko. This has actually lots of similar elements to Incendiary. Again, the main character Tarisai has kind of a memory magic. She doesn't steal them in quite the same way that Wren does, but she can see people's memories, and if they are troubling them she can take them away from them for a short time. Again, lots of quest elements in this one. Several times several of the characters go places to do things, which is how I'm interpreting quest. I really loved this book. This is a highly recommended one if you would consider that to involve a quest. For the option of a book that teaches me something, a couple here that I might get to. So the first one is one that I've already started reading, but I've read like literally 6 pages. Well, I've read the introduction and 6 pages because it's non-fiction, so for some reason in non-fiction they don't count the introduction. Anyway, so this is Delusions of Gender by Cordelia Fine, which is about the science behind sex and gender differences. What I've read so far I've really enjoyed, and I do need to try and finish it this year because I'm trying to clear my currently reading, so this is a high possibility for being read for this prompt. The other one I might pick up is a novel that I recently received from the Ninja Book Box book advent calendar that they sent me. So this is A Good Son by Paul McVeigh. This is set in Belfast, I think in like the 90s, I'm not entirely sure, maybe a little bit earlier than that, during the time of the Troubles when there was a lot of conflict in Northern Ireland, which is something that I don't know enough about considering that it's within living memory and within my country, but it's not something that we ever really talked about in school, even though it has huge implications for our society. So this is definitely something that I could learn more about, and I think this book, although being a novel, would help me learn from that. A couple of books I'm going to recommend are non-fiction ones that I've read this year that I really enjoyed. So the first is Invisible Women by Caroline Criado Perez, which is about the way in which women are often left out of decisions in different areas of society and technology, that sort of thing, and when women are not included in those conversations, their needs are not being met. This is a book that I really enjoyed, although it made me really angry as well at several points. But if you want to understand what gender inequality looks like on a practical level, it's really insightful. It's a book I've talked about quite a bit on my channel over the summer. It's one that I really found really powerful. And then the other one that I'm going to recommend is called Slay in Your Lane, and I can never remember the authors' names and it's really terrible. I will put them on the screen. It's subtitled The Black Girl Bible, and it is about what it means to be a black woman in the UK in the 21st century and sort of the issues that they face as a particular subgroup, because as women they suffer from gender inequality, and as black women they suffer from racial inequality. They experience more marginalisation than white women or black men because they are marginalised in 2 ways. But this book was really inspiring. It had lots of interviews with black women that have achieved really great things. I found it really powerful, and I'm not even its target audience, so it's another one that I really recommend if you want to understand what the situation is like for black women living in the UK at the moment. Prompt number 6 is Christingle, which is a book that makes you feel good. The one I'm most likely to read for this is one that I was just sent from Bookish Secret Santa I've been involved with. So this is Shorefall by Robert Jackson Bennett. This is the second book in the Founders trilogy, and I really loved the first book, so I know that I'm really gonna enjoy this one. I'm really excited to get back into this world and spend more time with these characters. So this is one that is really high on my list to try and get to during this readathon, but equally my maybe for this is basically everything else I've mentioned. Any of the books that I have talked about today are probably ones that would fit this category because they're all ones that I'm pretty sure I'm going to enjoy, and I can't really recommend anything for this category because it is quite personal to you. I said it in the announcement video, I really enjoy murder mysteries, so they make me feel good, but other people, that may not be what you enjoy. It might be you want to read like a really fluffy contemporary, or you might want to read a book that's set at Christmas because it makes you feel Christmassy, or you might really love horror and just want to read horror or thrillers or action or science fiction, or whatever makes you feel good will work for this prompt. So I can't tell you what that is, you have to figure that one out for yourself. And then the final prompt is Yola Boca Flood, which is to give someone a book and to spend some time on Christmas Eve reading. So I've already mentioned a couple of Book Secret Santa's book swaps that I'm involved in. I've got this parcel to send tomorrow. This is my last Secret Santa present to send off. Really excited. And then I've got another one coming in a few days, hopefully from my Secret Santa to me. So I've been involved in quite a few of those this year, and that's the main way that I have given people books, and I have so many choices for what to read on Christmas Eve. I might pick up any one of these. I'm working really hard at the moment. I'm studying and it's a lot of work, so I'm giving myself a few days off, like right over the Christmas break. So Christmas Eve and Christmas Day I'm not going to do any work, and Christmas Eve I'm going to spend most of that day reading, possibly in bed if I can get away with it. That is my TBR, potentially. I might change my mind, you never know when it comes to me. That is what I am anticipating reading for the Christmas readathon. Who knows whether I actually will read any of these books or all of them, probably not all of them. And also some recommendations for you if you are stuck for what to read. So let me know in the comments what your ideas for your TBR might be. Also follow us on Twitter. The Christmas Readathon Twitter and also my personal Twitter will be linked in the description box below. If you publish a TBR for the readathon and tag us on Twitter, then I will retweet that for you. We can try and get a bit of a conversation going about what people are planning to read. The Twitter is going to be quite chill. As I say, this is a really chill readathon, so I don't tend to do a lot of things like reading sprints, but I might like ask you what Christmassy snacks you're reading or what you're picking up for which prompt and that sort of thing. I might also do a thread on that Twitter of how I'm getting on with my reading. We will see. So I'm going to sign off there and say let me know if you're going to join in the Christmas readathon, but other than that, that's it for today. So thank you so much for watching and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye!